Hello everyone and welcome to a video on again my Minsk scenario, part of the Operation Migration campaign of Memoir 44 that I'm in the process of making. This video is going to be about which kind of ideal uh, initial cards you'd have for the Russians and what you could do with them. So first of all, behind enemy lines, you will notice that many of them are tactic cards. Behind enemy lines, what you could do, for instance, is move this partisan unit over here. So actually over here, move 3, attack this unit with 3 dice, -1 for the woods, +1 for the behind enemy lines cards, and then again move 3, thereby, well, not claiming the objective medal, but denying it to the Germans. So basically forcing the Germans to respond to that, because if they want to achieve a relatively early win, then they need to stay in control of the objective medals, in this case as a victory medal, obviously. But yeah, you really also want to, in a campaign, gain and stay in control of as many objective medals as possible. So if I had the behind enemy lines card, that's what I'd probably do with them. Alternatively, it has to be an infantry unit, so these are out of the question. But yeah, so that's definitely you could also try this one, for instance. Because here it's actually quite vulnerable, you could use this partisan unit, move 1 to attack this one with 4 dice in that particular case, and then move over here. So that's probably even a better move to make. Another card which would be great to have on your very first turn as the Russians is their finest hour. The Russians start with, and they actually have throughout the game, as many as 7 cards. So I guess you wouldn't be overly lucky if you actually got 4 or 5 die results that you can actually do something with. You have enough tanks, you have enough infantry, and of course the stars could also be used potentially for using some artillery. So something that tended to happen in a lot of my playtests of this scenario was starting with this unit is not actually here at the beginning of the game. These two, and attacking, for instance, this infantry. If you moved this particular unit over here, you'd get to attack with 4 dice, and then you'd probably score 1 or 2 hits, 3 hits maybe if you're very lucky, and maybe a flag, and you'd get another attack in, and maybe you'd take out 1 unit with a single attack, or you could take on the tiger afterwards, or you could take on almost any of these German units over here, and assuming you get, let's just say they get 2 tanks and 1 star, well, you could definitely use these two, and maybe move up the mobile artillery, and also use that one on this flank. Also a good option for their finest hour card is to move this tank unit over here, move it here. Again, this one is not here at the beginning of the game. Well, it is actually here, not there. And you'd be able to take on the naval warfare unit. Again, naval warfare units never benefit from cover. So the tank would get to roll as many as 4 dice against the naval warfare, which is a very pesky unit, and it can really hamper the Russians for a long time on this flank. If you can take it out with their finest hour card, that's certainly a unit you could consider using. Another card which is very helpful, very useful, it actually happened in a few of the playtests, is the armor assault. Again, you can use these two units and attack, and again in a potential overrun, which will probably happen quite often as well, 1 or even 2, you'll get an extra attack in, and you could make it a more level playing field on this side of the board. Same thing, this tank as well. You could do the same thing. You wouldn't be able to move it up, but you wouldn't get the extra die, but this is still a good attack to make. And this card as well, and this tank unit also for their finest hour card, move it up in close assault. For the armor assault, you roll one extra die. Note that this is supported armor, so it would get to roll in close assault as many as 3 dice with an armor assault card, rather than a regular armor unit which would only roll 2. General Advance is also a nice card to have, 2 units each. Probably use these 2 tank units, or you try to take on this village right away and try to take a town actually, and try to take the medal from the Germans right away. Again, the Germans start with 9 medals, so it's pretty important for the Russians to take some from them, because in this scenario the Germans have enough power to really take on the Russians basically on a level playing field. At least for the time being, the Russians will get reinforcements, and sooner or later they will gain the upper hand. But until then, given the head start that they have of 9 medals, the Russians have to be really careful not to lose too many units, and any medal you can take from the Germans will help. So you could use, for instance, this infantry unit, move it up here and attack in a close assault. And if you force it out, or maybe if you feel lucky, you could also start with an artillery bombard with the roll 3 dice with the mobile artillery, do that first and then this. But yeah, then if you roll a flag, then you might not be able to attack with this unit anymore, so probably the better thing to do would be to first attack with the infantry. And even if you do force them out, well, that's of course great, because then you can move in, claim the medal, and you would still get in an extra attack. So those are some options you have there. In the middle, you can right away attack this unit over here, probably again with this one, and maybe also with the artillery, or you can move this one up and roll 1 die. And over here, well, probably, as I said, the most obvious thing to do would be to move these tanks forward and take on the naval warfare. And what else could you do? You could use this unit as a left flank Russian unit and roll 1 die against this town hex. You could make a move and exit these tanks from the marshes. Note that they have to stop adjacent to a marsh, and they wouldn't be able to fire. But yeah, then at least you will have gotten them out. I would probably move them here, because otherwise they're in the way of the other tank. And then on the next Russian turn, you'd be able to take on the naval warfare if it's still there. With 6 dice. So that should probably work. Firefight, also a good card. Not a single unit starts adjacent to an enemy unit in this scenario. That is definitely an option as well. And probably the usual suspects would be the same ones. This one, these 2 tank units over there, those could be 2 units to use. Over here you can take on the village hex. There are several options. Of course, you have to keep in mind that you're not allowed to move, and it depends on your hand, of course, that you have in the first place. Air power is also a good card, targeting 3 or 4 adjacent enemy units. What you could do is target a couple of units over here as the Russians, or of course have, for instance, these 3 units to really weaken them if you're a little bit lucky. So that's a good card to start with as well. And again, note that in this scenario, and in most of the scenarios in the campaign, the Russians can actually use Recon 1 cards as air power cards as well. So that's definitely something to do. You could also target some of these units with air power to really reduce them and weaken them. But of course, in case of a flag, you might actually be hurting yourself, because they do actually retreat towards the German baseline as normal. So you might actually make it easier for them to exit if that's what they would want to do. Finally, the last card I would like to point out is the assault on the right, which would be all units here. So then you'd be able to do some damage here and take on that particular town hex as well. Hopefully take it over and move some of the units in the back forward. So those are a couple of openings that would make sense if you have that particular card. If you have any other ideas, please leave some comments of which card you would like to have that I may not have covered, and what you do with it. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.